Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. We are a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. I'm Reverend Stephen, the minister of this congregation. I want to thank our team leading worship this morning, our religious education director, Colleen, our music director, Emily, our worship associates, Benny and Abby and Colleen. Who are the other two? Lo and Benny, right? Let's see, Benny, Abby, Lo. Maya, thank you. I didn't write them out. Our social justice team leaders, Andrew and Vivian. The UUCK Peace Chorus, our accompanist, Vanessa. Our guest musicians, Brad and Ben. Our tech team, Brad and David and Lois, thank you. And our administrator, Mary Beth, who prepared slides. Each week we take time to create a space of welcome, of inclusion by greeting one another. So let's take a moment and remaining seated, let's turn and greet those next to us. Let's be together, let's breathe together. As we breathe, let's invite the Spirit to be present among us and open our hearts to life and the gift of this day.
Throughout the religious education year, we spend at least 1 week each month adding focus to our justice work. In each January, we put a pin in regular education, religious education, to spend 1 month diving deeper. The idea came with the realization that our children need the teachers and trusted adults in their lives to tell them the age-appropriate truth about racism, oppression, injustice, and what is happening in the world. And that beyond that learning, they need opportunities to learn the skills and be offered tools to do something about it. In this particular Justice January, the children of our congregation chose to focus on just a few things: racism, oppression, poverty, the environment, abortion rights, LGBTQA+ oppression, and the care of homeless animals. They've got things to do. And to understand the intersectionality of these issues, they are turning to the lessons of regular folks, folks on the ground doing what must be done to bring about a better world. Everyday people, volunteers bringing food to the hungry, citizens speaking truth to power, organizers protecting the lives of refugees and people of color, and children fighting for their precious environment. In this learning, we hope that they are inspired by the ways everyday citizens became change makers, working for peace, justice, and equality for all. Our youth are discovering ways to use their voices and actions to support and care for their fellow human beings through activism, having conversations with friends, and supporting local justice workers in their missions. They know that everyone can play a part and is needed in the fight for collective liberation, from the famous names that we all know to those working anonymously behind the scenes. I recently saw a meme on social media that talked about how in science fiction movies, when people go back in time, they have to be like super careful because if they make any change at all, the entire timeline gets thrown off, right? They can change the whole course of history with one action. And isn't that the truth? Every step, everything we do today to build a better world shifts our trajectory. Every step, however small, taken in the direction of liberation for our human family is worth taking. Every single person can make an impact. Every action matters. I could not be more proud of our kids. Their justice and their loving and justice-seeking hearts inspire me to keep going. And their thoughtful and strong voices, which you will hear today, remind me that this next generation is capable and ready to keep moving the needle and to bend the arc of the universe towards justice. Today, as we honor the life and work of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., let's remember his charge to all of us when he said, "Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle, and so we must straighten our backs and work for freedom." Come, let us worship together.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.
Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship. It reminds us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us. The chalice is also a light to guide us on our shared journey and a reminder that we are all interconnected in the great web of existence of which we are all a beloved part. Riley, would you light our chalice this morning? As Riley lights our shared chalice, I invite those on Zoom to light your home chalice. Please join in the words of our chalice lighting, which should be on the screen. We come together to remind ourselves to treat people kindly because they are our siblings, to take good care of the earth because it is our home, to live lives full of goodness and love because that is how we will make our world the best place it can be.
As we learn to lead in love, it is important to nurture our relationship with that love. So each week we take time, silence together, to turn inward, to seek the source of the love that can be found within. We can do that through prayer, through meditation. We can offer gratitude. we can simply be and just let love be present and fill us. It's important as we do this that we remember who we truly are, that we are made to love and made for love, to take time to reflect on our lives and their mystery, their wonder, and sometimes the difficult things, and reconnect with that love inside. So let's take some time now in silence together. I invite you to return. One of the many strengths of this congregation is the way you hold one another in tenderness and care, especially when someone among you is struggling. So I invite you into that spirit of tenderness and care now as we share the joy, the struggles, the sorrows, and losses some of us are experiencing. If you're on Zoom and there's a sorrow, loss, or struggle to share, please use the chat box. Alex shares with us, this young man is struggling with mental illness and drug dependency. Alex, we're holding you and praying for peace, for healing, for strength, and we're here for you. Claudia shares the concern of our friends who have COVID and wishing a speedy recovery. Let's hold everyone who is sick, especially with COVID, in our hearts. Lois and Jen share a sorrow thinking of Jen's stepmother, Dee, who is dealing with a difficult cancer diagnosis. Sorry. We're holding her and you in our hearts in this difficult time. Kevin lifts up trans people in Ohio struggling with anti-trans legislation. Let's raise our voices as we need to remind our legislators to treat everyone with kindness, equity, and compassion. If there's anyone on your heart right now that hasn't been named yet, you are welcome to speak their name out loud in the spirit of holding them in care. Let us also hold in our hearts and in prayer the victims of war, of violence in our world. Would you join me in a spirit of prayer? Spirit of life, God of our hearts, source of the love that embraces and sustains us, the love that will not let us go. We gather in prayer to hold all who are in need of love, compassion, support, and care. Those we've named, those who are in our hearts and thoughts. We pray for those who are sick and suffering, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who struggle with addiction. We pray that they will find healing and wholeness. We pray for those who are lonely or isolated, those who are grieving, the victims of any kind of abuse or of violence. May they find connection, comfort, peace, and strength. We pray for ourselves, too, as each of us faces life's challenges, losses, and struggles. May we remember that we are not alone. We are held by this community and by love itself. May this knowledge guide us in being compassionate, kind, and loving ourselves as well as each other and all of life. As we remember the life and work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., may we be inspired by his legacy of love and nonviolence as we continue his work for equality, justice, and peace. Where our human community is divided by racism, torn by oppression, broken by violence and hatred, saddened by fear and ignorance, may we give ourselves to the work of healing, of justice, of peace, of equality, of hope, of love for everyone. May we find courage as we remember that Dr. King had a vision of the promised land and told us we would get there someday. May we make this a reality in our lifetime. May it be so. We've had moments that have lifted our spirits. We've experienced joy, wonder, and awe. Once again, if you're attending via Zoom, you are welcome to share your joys via the chat box. Bryce shares with us the joy of an amazing day at work yesterday and working hard. Yay. Yay. And from last week that I didn't get to share, David Bond and his wife are expecting once again. Yay! I want to lift up the joy of our children and youth participating in Justice January and getting to hear their voices as they share with us the work they're doing. Now, with gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in our lives, for the gift of our lives, for the companionship of each other on our journey, for the beauty of our world even on the bitterly cold days, and for this day with all its possibilities, we raise our hearts in gladness, and together we say, Amen.
I'm going to sing a song with you called Shine on Me. It's an amazing spiritual that anybody can sing. And in these days, with the things that we're doing, with the people separate, and all of that, and things seem so hard. This is one of those songs that just throw your head back, put it in the medicine kit. All you have to do is ask. It goes like this. Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me.
Good morning. I'm Vivian, and this is Andrew. And we're about to have a shining moment. So, as the social justice coordinator for our church, I'm very pleased and honored this morning to announce the recipients of an award that recognizes extraordinary social justice leadership in our congregation. Our congregation has been involved in justice work for generations, from our early welcome of female clergy to Vietnam War tax protest to immigration and environmental justice work. And back in 2019, we created the Ted and Swanee Venida Social Justice Leadership Award. And we honored the Venidas' lifelong commitment to justice work. Swanee is sitting right over here among us. We know there are more efforts and individuals who have made a real difference in the world, far more than I could possibly name, but in creating this award, we can honor all of our efforts through the years as we recognize and honor some of the justice leadership within our congregation. After a pause during COVID, we are now presenting 2 awards today. And our recipients are among us. One award is to Marianne Casper, who's right there. And the second award is going to Kathy and Bill Weiland, who are sitting right in front of Marianne. So I'll begin by describing, although I can't possibly do it all justice, the work of Marianne Casper. So we are honored to recognize the significant and innovative contributions of Marianne Casper to social justice here in our Kent community. Marianne, as many of you know, is the founder and leader of the Socially Responsible Sweatshop, a nonprofit organization that sews, creates, and sells useful craft items and donates the profits to hunger programs in the area. The sweatshop began nearly 11 years ago in 2013 when Marianne recognized a need and envisioned a way to fill that need. She had worked as a special education teacher for 30 years. And in that role, she saw the effects of food insecurity on children and families. She volunteered with Family and Community Services, where she worked closely with struggling families. Marianne then volunteered at the farmers market, where she saw that struggling families receive only a tiny sum of money from the state's Women, Infants, and Children program to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. And then she had an idea. She used her skill and experience as a sewist, and that is the term that's used, sewist, to produce bags for people at the market created from discarded fabric. And from there, she began to sew a wide variety of products and sell them to people in the community. Recognizing that discarded fabric was usually dumped in landfills, she repurposed fabric to create beautiful items to sell. And she donated the proceeds to programs like Kent Social Services, programs that address food insecurity. Well, before long, others joined Marianne, and the Socially Responsible Sweatshop was born. And today they have roughly 60 volunteers who create and sell purses, crafts, jewelry, yoga mat bags, meditation pillows, baby and pet supplies, herbal products using herbs grown by Marianne herself, and other useful items. A crew of volunteers sells these at the farmers market and at area craft fairs and festivals. And with the money that they have earned, the Socially Responsible Sweatshop in 2023 donated a total of $40,195 to local agencies. They include, wow. Those agencies include the Kent Social Services, the Center of Hope in Ravenna, the Portage County Rural Relief Mobile Food Pantry Bus, and the Women, Infants, and Children's Program. If I've left any out, I'm sorry. So many. They also work with local farmers to provide access to vegetables to people who are often elderly who live in food deserts, and Mary Ann brings the food to them herself, and others do as well. Recently, the socially responsible sweatshop expanded to provide feminine pads to women and girls in Kenya, and to provide donated hand-crank sewing machines, which were converted to being hand-cranked by Brad Bolton. And these machines are given to women in Kenya who can then earn a living by sewing, even without electricity. The sweatshop volunteers take seriously their environmental mission. They collect whole spools of fabric from stores that are otherwise destined for landfills, and they make use of them. They seek to educate people about the importance of using fabric rather than dumping it in landfills. Over the past several years, Mary Ann has been honored for her work with a variety of awards. In 2023, she was named Woman of the Year by the Summit County Women's History Project, and she and the Socially Responsible Sweatshop received the Community Service Award from Celebrate Portage. Mary Ann and other sweatshop volunteers speak regularly around the area to raise awareness of local food insecurity and to promote the environmentally sound reuse of clothing and fabric. Christy Anderson has written this: Mary Ann promotes volunteer opportunities for people of all ages. The inclusion of volunteers as young as 5, as well as youth and adults up to frail seniors, is building community, demonstrating the satisfaction and benefit of volunteering to the younger generation, reducing the social isolation of older adults, and providing them with the satisfaction of making a contribution. Foreign-born sewists are finding friendship at SRS. The age, ethnic, and racial diversity of SRS volunteers is broadening the perspectives and hearts of all. Christy observes that we are proud that SRS was birthed in the basement of our church. And as Mary Ann herself said to me yesterday, everyone can do something to make a change. Now I turn it over to Andrew.
Our second award presentation today goes to Kathy and Bill Weiland. Kathy and Bill each worked as educators, Kathy and Bill each worked as educators in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and were active in social justice causes before and after their retirement. Similar to Ted and Swanee, the Weilands have been a Kent social justice power couple. They have consistently worked on issues protecting democracy and the environment. In the 1970s, Kathy worked for women's rights through the National Organization for Women as an active member of the national, Ohio, and local Kent chapters, with the main purpose of passing a constitutional amendment for equal rights. Kathy continues working today with the League of Women Voters in Kent, active on committees with education efforts and signature petitions to reduce gerrymandering. Kathy and Bill became involved in the Center for Global Justice in 2011, which connected them to another pro-democracy effort. Every Monday, the center held an Occupy San Miguel meeting, which focused on issues relating to our evolving corporatocracy, how corporate control over our politicians and elections is eroding democracy with capitalism. They learned about Move to Amend, a national movement for a constitutional amendment to reduce corporate influence in politics, and decided to implement Democracy Day in Kent. Democracy Day is all about supporting and promoting Move to Amend to help restore the democracy many of us feel is being eroded. With support from the Ohio Supreme Court, Democracy Day began in 2015 with an opportunity for citizens to give 5-minute speeches to Kent City Council members, express their views about our corporatocracy and how we can improve our democracy. Democracy Day still continues every year in Kent with the support of the Weilands. In 2020, Kathy's Democracy Day remarks explain the problems with the current influence of corporate money on our democracy. She explained, this is, excuse me, probably too much coffee. You know, right. Kathy explained, this is politically undemocratic, economically unsustainable, and environmentally cataclysmic. It is also profoundly immoral and unethical based on faith and ethical principles. Human rights and rights of nature should be inalienable, not so-called corporate rights and the right to legally destroy the very environment that supports the existence of human beings and other living entities. The other major issue of interest to Kathy and Bill has been global warming. Starting in the 1990s, Kathy joined a group of Kent citizens to raise awareness of the fracking for gas in the area and to collect petition signatures to stop fracking. Bill's major interest in climate change's environmental impact evolved after reading Naomi Klein's book, This Changes Everything: Capitalism versus the Climate. After Kent City Council passed a resolution to support the Paris Climate Agreement in 2017, Bill volunteered to join the Sustainability Ad Hoc Committee and create Kent's Climate Action Plan, which is now in place in Kent. I also realized I totally left out the Weilands' involvement in the Kent Environmental Council. It's impossible to cover decades of environmental action. Bill explained to me, as a member of the UU Social Justice Committee, I always felt the need to accomplish needed environmental changes to help our UU and Kent communities achieve the goal of reducing greenhouse gases. But Bill has done more than just talk about reducing greenhouse gases. He led the UU Solar Committee, investigating options, creating a proposal for adding solar panels to Hobbs Hall, and then donating further to make it possible. Kathy and Bill helped our church become a model for moving beyond fossil fuels in Kent. We are proud to recognize these environmental and social justice leaders today. Marianne, Kathy, Bill, would you please come forward or stand to accept your awards? To thank Marianne Casper, Kathy, and Bill Weiland for their leadership and present this award, we have Benny Havansek, a youth in our congregation.
Thank Thank you for your leadership and commitment to ending injustice and oppression. I live in a world made better by your efforts. We will remember and continue your work into the future.
Environmental justice recognizes that marginalized communities often bear the brunt of environmental degradation. These challenges could include things like pollution, toxic waste, or lack of access to clean air or water. The movement aims to address these disparities and ensure that no community is unfairly burdened by governmental policies regarding environmental issues. It's like making sure that everyone, no matter where they live or their background, has an equal opportunity to enjoy a safe and healthy environment. Environmental justice intersects with many of our Unitarian Universalist values, including our second principle, which is advocating for justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. This includes ensuring that policies are fair and just for all communities. When environmental policies are created that do not treat all people fairly, it can lead to disproportionate harm to marginalized communities, exacerbating existing socioeconomic disparities and contributing to adverse health effects within those populations. An example of this is the Flint water crisis, which illustrates how a vulnerable community experienced the adverse effects of environmental decisions and policies. The Flint water crisis brought illness and uncertainty to families all around Flint. I would like to share the story of Flint's 15-year-old Marcel Richmond, whose family struggled to cope with the lead contamination. His family was left feeling hopeless and depressed, his mother Mary said. The family used a filter that hooked to the faucet, but Sanders said that they didn't trust that the filter actually worked, so they used bottled water for just about everything, except bathing. However, many families could not afford to buy bottled water and had no choice but to use government-provided filters or nothing at all. Because they still bathed in Flint water, Sanders said she then had to spend extra money on creams and special lotions to help cope with the rashes that plagued the family. Everybody has rashes, like patches. They're itchy and red, Sanders said of her family. Marcel also said that he suffered from stomach pain and missed a lot of school. His little brother began having behavioral issues and could not concentrate in class. It's depressing, Sanders said. I don't think it's ever going to change. Almost 10 years later, the lead pipes have been replaced with copper, but public health effects and mistrust residents have toward their local and state governments will remain for some time. Unitarian Universalists see themselves as stewards of the earth, which is why environmental justice is our work to do. Because all people, regardless of their background or where they live, have the right to a clean and healthy environment.
Healthcare is one of the most important things that every person needs, no matter their gender, age, race, income, religion, or sexuality. But America seems to think that we need to limit accessibility to certain medical procedures based on who you are. Trans healthcare for youth is at severe risk in our country. 23 states, including Ohio, don't allow gender-affirming care for youth. In fact, the Ohio House just voted to override the governor's recent veto of House Bill 68 that will make trans healthcare oppression of the law and remove the rights of parents to make medical decisions for their own children. That is horrifying. We have to change that. My friend had to end up leaving the state because of this. It was a huge, painful change for her and her whole family because the state didn't want her here as her true self. A child's access to health care is just as important as an adult's. Both children and adults are being denied care by people who aren't doctors. They're making medical decisions for others based on their bigoted beliefs and phobias. That's disgusting, and it makes me not want to live in such a cruel country. Another major access to health care issues is abortion rights, which is something I think is bizarre for the fact that people are debating on women's bodies. 21 of the US states have banned abortion and enforced forced birth, which is incredibly sad. There are so many reasons as to why abortion is a necessity. South Carolina's all-male Supreme Court is where abortion is a necessity. South Carolina's all-male Supreme Court is the one who decided to ban the right for their state, which is incredibly crazy. It was men deciding on women's rights. It's like the 1950s all over again, when women died seeking health care in back alleys in unsafe conditions. If anyone is to decide abortion rights, it should be women, trans men, or anyone born with a uterus. Those are the bodies whom this issue directly affects. Those are the people who should decide. I know this sounds depressing, but what can we do about it? Seriously, what can we do about it? I'm asking you, because I really don't know.
Protest.
Thank you. We need to help each other fight for the right to access health care. I'll end this in the words written by Lin-Manuel Miranda for the musical Hamilton. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden that you never get to see. America, you great unfinished symphony, you sang, send for me. I hope that someday we won't have to fight so hard to simply live, and that will be a part of our legacy. Raise a glass to freedom, something that they can never take away, no matter what they tell you.
Hi, my name is Maya Klein, and I am the co-president of UU Youth for Justice. We have spent a lot of time working with homeless individuals over the past few years, and I would like to share some of my thoughts. Personally, I think that many people avoid confronting homelessness directly because it's an unpleasant topic. It's unpleasant to think about a person freezing in this cold, cold weather we've been experiencing lately. And it's unpleasant to think about the underlying mental illnesses, abuse, addictions, and other struggles that can land a person on the streets in the first place. And we as a society have become so used to making ourselves as comfortable as possible that many of us are unwilling to put ourselves in a potentially uncomfortable situation to help out another human. I find this deeply saddening, especially when I consider how much I have gotten out of many interactions I've had with homeless individuals. During the service trip to DC this past summer, we spoke with Sean Gotti and Nikki Smith, two members of the National Coalition for the Homeless. And they both shared stories that were highly personal and included extremely difficult situations. Yet it was inspiring how they both stayed hopeful and positive despite all they had been through. On the same trip, we got a little turned around, and two homeless men gladly pointed us in the right direction. One of them was named Dominique, and he had some paintings sitting out on the sidewalk. He told us about his aspirations to have art in the National Portrait Gallery one day. I bought a piece from him and now have it hanging in my room, where it acts as a reminder that there are so many people surviving through much harder times than myself. And back in 2021, we were picking up trash along the Cuyahoga River and came across a homeless camp under the bridge. Some of the residents came out and we chatted for a while. One told us about how he was trying to find work and get back into housing. Even though he had fallen on hard times, he seemed very happy that we stopped by to talk. Like many other people we have met, he mentioned wanting people to say hi when they passed by, even if they don't give him food or money. Simply acknowledging someone and listening to what they have to say can hold more weight than you might realize. I understand that there are practical reasons to not befriend every stranger we meet, and this is part of the reason UUYJ started hosting monthly community meals a year ago. We try to create a warm, safe, and joyful environment for people of all different backgrounds to come together and enjoy one another's company, not only filling their stomachs, but also our hearts. I know from my mom's work in the nonprofit world that there are so many amazing programs that can always use more funding. But aside from financially supporting issues of homelessness and poverty, there are always ways to donate your time. For example, there are overnight shelters open tonight and tomorrow and every other cold day of the year that need more volunteers. There are food pantries and hot meals and clothes drives and so many other amazing opportunities to make someone else's life a little easier. And volunteering in these settings can help us embrace how unpleasant the issues of severe poverty are, instead of pretending that they do not exist. So let me leave you with this. We, as Unitarian Universalists, believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every living thing, and that includes every person. But the thing about believing in something is that it doesn't really do much on its own, which is why we all need to channel those beliefs into our actions.
Thank you, Abby, Lo, and Maya, for writing reflections and telling. Oh, no, I know. I'm inviting Benny up here. Don't worry. I'm not forgetting Benny. And letting the congregation know the issues that are important to you and to the children of this church. So now I would like to invite Benny Hovanzik to read a poem that was written by the children of this church, including Benny himself.
In the world we build, we will focus on the earth because we need a healthy place to live. We will protect our democracy and hold elections by the popular vote. We will stand strong, determined to make the world a better place. In the world we build, we will help the homeless and love our neighbors. We will be a light in the darkness like the moon and stars. Love will be our legacy. In the world we build, it will be peaceful, curious, interesting. In the world we build, we will know that violence is never the answer, that we can make history with what we do. We will know that we have to respect each other, even if we have different views. We will know that everyone has dreams, and even if you don't reach your exact dream all the way, you can get really close. We will know that we can dream big and work hard for what we dream about. And we will know that we can make history even with small steps. In the world we build, we will be inspired by artists like Amanda Gorman, who tell us that we can be brave enough to be the light because America is not broken, just unfinished. In the world we build, there is hope and love, and people are brave to stand up for what they believe in. We will build the world by helping people, expressing others, and helping others. In the world we build, no one is homeless, hungry, scared, or treated unfairly. In the world we build, there will be peace and justice, and we will build our world with love.
If you give of your heart, your time, and your talent, thank you.
To help others in our community thrive.
give to UNICEF USA as we, the children of this church, commit to supporting their work through action and education in our RE classes.
To give to UNICEF USA, please use the white envelopes and write special offering on it and place it in the offering basket. If you are writing a check, please write special offering on the memo line so that your gift is counted.
Thank you for helping us to build a better world.
The offering will now be gratefully received.
Jesus Christ was a handsome man. He had nothing to hide. He said, give bread to the hungry, bring the homeless inside. Jesus Christ was a dangerous man. That's the way that he died. He said, be good to the people you love. Love everybody alive. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love. Love everybody alive. Dr. King was a preacher. He had God on his side. He said, all God's children are brothers. Don't cast your brother aside. Dr. King was a dangerous man. That's the way that he died. He said, be good to the people you love and love everybody alive. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love and love everybody alive. There ain't nothing more criminal than kindness. There ain't nothing more valuable than blindness. We'll make anyone a martyr who remind us everybody's got a right to be free. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love and love everybody alive. Be good to the people. Be good to the people. Be good to the people you love and love everybody alive. Love everybody alive. Love everybody alive.
Will you join me in a responsive reading this morning as we recommit ourselves to this work of justice? Thank you, Heather. I will read the words. It's also printed in your order of service and will be on the screen. I will read the regular type. If you would please follow by reading the type in italics. These are the words of Martin Luther King Jr. and Angela Herrera. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny.
From our life's journey, we join as one community, one body of people, together on the side of love.
Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals.
We bring our gifts of compassion and care, our hopes for the future. We bring our dream of peace,
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. There are some things in our social system to which all of us ought to be maladjusted. Now let us begin. Now let us rededicate ourselves to the long and bitter but beautiful struggle for a new world. The choice is ours, and though we might prefer it otherwise, we must choose in this crucial moment of human history.
Let us have the courage to go out into the world.
Let us dedicate our lives to changing the world. Let us join together in the struggle, together on the side of love.
And now ready to go out into the world and join in the struggle for love, peace, and justice. Let's prepare to bring our time to its close by extinguishing the chalice. Would you join me in the words? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again.
These are the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. If the church will free itself from the shackles of a deadening status quo and recovering its great historic mission, will speak and act fearlessly and insistently in terms of justice and peace, it will enkindle the human imagination and fire the human soul, imbuing people with a glowing and ardent love for truth, justice, and peace. People far and near will know the church as a great fellowship of love that provides light and bread for lonely travelers at midnight.
And now, our hearts filled with Dr. King's dream of a world where there is peace and justice, inspired by his legacy of love and nonviolence, and ready to answer the call to serve others and share our gifts with the world, may we go forth in the spirit of hope and possibility to make his dream real as we continue to inspire love, seek justice, and grow together in community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And I see love's light in you.